following presentation contains things all that are geek related. Because of the possibility of strong language and opinions that may differ from your own, parental guidance is strongly suggested. So guide your parents out of the room so we can have some fun, kids. Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Quentin's Enginewerks, brought to you by Indie Comics Dispatch. I'm coming to you live from here in Nirvana. Going to be an awesome show. Today, we have the creator and writer and creator of The Recount, which has been a smash hit. In fact, it just went to a second printing. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Jonathan Hedrick on board. Jonathan, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me on. That's an awesome intro.
I'm blessed to have an awesome tech team. What can I say?
That was cool. That was cool.
Yeah, thank you. Got a couple of warm-up questions that I like to ask everybody because, personally, I'm a child of the 80s and it shows big time. My Mount Rushmore, it's Star Wars, He-Man, Transformers, G.I. Joe, with an honorable mention going to Thundercats and Ninja Turtles. What's on yours?
Oh, definitely Ninja Turtles. You mentioned a lot of same ones, but I was a huge Ninja Turtle fan when I was a kid. Had a different turtle shirt for every day of the week. The bed, the linen pillowcase, matching curtains, everything was turtles to death. What a great time to be a kid, man. That cartoon show was awesome. There wasn't one thing that they didn't slap the Ninja Turtles on. Cereal, video games. Then the movie was that first movie, the live action one, was awesome. So yeah,
of course. Yeah, when you have Vanilla Ice doing the soundtrack when he was still cool.
Yeah, when he was still cool. Poor Vanilla Ice.
Yeah. So for you, was it about the turtles? Because personally, I prefer, don't get me wrong, I know you're supposed to cheer for the good guys, but for me, I was pulling for Krang. I liked, Krang was my favorite, then Bebop and Rocksteady, and then Leatherhead. I didn't get to a good guy until Casey Jones. That was the first good guy on my list of everybody in that show.
Casey Jones was rad. Yeah, I mean, then they had like the Rat King and the Mousers from Baxter. It was just everything on there was to help push the sale of toys, which I had. Every single one of them.
Who didn't?
The pizza van, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, it was. It was a great time. Like you said, it was a great time to be a kid. So along those lines, getting away from turtles for a moment, in the industry, just about everybody has a favorite superhero. Who was yours?
Well, I really got into the superhero genre via Robin. Not Batman, but Robin. I really liked the idea of that maybe one day I could be a superhero too. The fact that Robin didn't have powers, that maybe one day, because I didn't have my biological father in my life, maybe some billionaire would adopt me, train me to be some awesome mixed martial artist, and then one day I could be a superhero. So I started reading the Robin books, and at the time it was written by Chuck Dixon in the early 90s and throughout the 90s, which led me to reading more, diving deeper into the Batman mythos with all the crossover books they did for like Nightfall and things like that. So in the Batman family, there's just so much material there. Then I started following Nightwing and all the other things. So Yeah,
Well,
that's really
well,
my origin story, if you will.
when you can, when you consider with Batman, you're talking about material just between Detective and his main title. You're talking almost 2,000 books now.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's an incredible run. That's
Yeah,
and they still do a fairly decent job of keeping things unique and and fresh, which
yeah.
to me that took some doing it itself.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's not an easy task to take on when with a character that's been around for over 80 years to come up with
Mm-hmm.
something fresh and original. But, Tom King, he came in having to follow hot on the, heels of Scott Snyder's run. And now James Tynion is, doing his thing on it. So, yeah, kudos to those guys for having the creativity to come up with something fresh and new.
Yeah, I was really fond of Snyder's run. Tiny Ends has been pretty good. But for to me though, okay, let's cut the Joker's face off, and that was just a wow. You know,
Yeah.
is that why they call everything the Snyder Cut?
I didn't think about it that way. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
clever.
Okay, so we've been talking a bit about Batman, but
Mm.
I didn't bring you on here to talk about somebody else's work. I wanted to talk to you about your
Oh,
work. We got the Recount here.
ooh, yeah.
What can you tell me about that?
The Recount. So that is what I like to call an anti-political thriller about a president that was hated so badly that a underground conspirator group plans his assassination during his farewell speech, if you will, or his resignation speech. And after they take him out, they go after anyone that helped put that same president into power, including those who voted for him. And they release that information to the public while encouraging normal everyday citizens to go after these people too. So it really there's kind of stoking the flames of a potential new civil war throughout this series.
Okay, that
Mhm.
makes sense. Yeah, my buddy Brett, he, when I was first telling him about the Recount about a month ago, he was saying it sounds interesting, but it's just with everything going on in the political climate in the world right now, it's a little bit on the terrifying side. But
Yeah.
still, gotta ask, how did you come up with this idea?
Well, I started writing it probably early 2019 and even back then there was a palpable um, political climate that was already being, fueled with a lot of hatred. Um, so I just thought it would be pretty interesting to see a story played out where voters would be held accountable for who they put into power. That really intrigued me. I thought there
Mm,
was a lot of story that could be told with that, and I went from there.
nice. You know, um, when you for doing this, you know, the first issue is an absolute home run. In fact, you got second printing coming out.
Thank you.
How did you
Yeah.
decide? How do you decide what artwork is going to go on what cover? Like you know, give me a second here. I'm gonna bring up some one of the covers that are one of the covers that are out there.
Sure. Yeah. As far as that main cover that you held up earlier, that's by
Mm-hmm.
the interior artist Gabriel Ibarra Nunez. And I for all the covers he's done for the series,
Mm-hmm.
didn't give him any art direction. He's just like, here you go.
Okay.
Here's a banger. Oh yeah,
Yep.
that one with Brian Silverbacks, the retail incentive Scarface homage cover. Brian suggested that, and I'm a Scarface fan, um, and he knocked that one out of the park too. So
Yes, he did.
yeah, I couldn't complain. Yeah, a lot of the covers, I'm fortunate enough that the artists have just come up with just fire for all of
Mm-hmm.
them.
Yeah, because like with the with the Recount,
Yeah.
that's your second print, and
Hmm.
honestly, I like that even almost better than the
Yeah.
original first print.
Right. Yeah. So when Gabriel did the cover, that's the main cover of the first print. He drew that way back before we were signed with Scout. When I thought I was going to self-publish the Recount. So I think between that time and the second print cover, almost a year and a half had passed by. Where
Okay.
he's lived with the characters and the story a little longer, which gave him more creative elements that he could work with. So yeah, he even colored that too. And I love the
Yeah.
color on that jacket. It really stands out. And then
It's
the throwing up the peace sign. Yeah.
I wasn't sure whether to call it if that was a peace sign or if that was the V for victory.
I like to
But
think of it. It's a peace sign at the same time, kind of saying two for second print.
okay, I can see that. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, like a little hidden message. Mhm.
That definitely works.
Yeah.
You so with the recount, is this going to be a limited book run? Are we talking 4, 5, 6 books, or is this going to be an ongoing series?
Not an ongoing series. It's going to be 4 issues for each volume with a plan of 3 total volumes. So 12
Okay.
issues across 3 volumes if all goes well. Plus, there was an ash can for the first volume, which is for original story, 4 pages of original content. So hopefully there can be
Okay.
more ash cans. And I have plans for some one shots that are in between the volumes, maybe a few more ash cans. So collectively, there could be way more than 12 issues worth of
Okay.
content when it's all said and done.
Mm, okay. And one thing you got to do though, because this thing is so good, get past that word. If it all goes well, when it goes this well.
Right. Yeah, I'm just trying to stay
To
humble,
me,
just trying to be humble about
oh,
it.
understandable.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, we're going to move off of the recount for just a minute because, when I was getting ready do my interview with you here,
Mhm.
I came across this guy,
Capable. Yeah.
and yeah, that was wow.
Yeah.
To me, it spoke volumes because
Mhm. Mhm.
I fight a bit of a disability. I am hard of
Mhm.
hearing, so
Right.
it makes it for me, basically the I think I'm one of the few people in some regards that the COVID thing has been a bit of a godsend because it's made it so I can tell people, hey, please, with your mask, I can't understand you. Please repeat yourself,
Mhm.
and
Sure.
without them being obnoxious or trying to or making jokes like what or
Yeah.
deliberately changing the volume of their voice. So
Right.
for me, this has actually worked out, but you know,
Mhm.
so like I said, to me, it spoke volumes to me. What can you
Cool.
tell people about Capable if they're not familiar with it?
Yeah, so Capable is my superhero series, and the concept of it is a world where one day people with disabilities start to gain superpowers that are opposite of what their handicap was. So for instance, our main character Derek, who's on the cover, he's a high school kid that used a
Mm-hmm.
wheelchair because he didn't have the use of his legs, but one day he wakes up and he's a speedster, like the Flash or Quicksilver, and he's the focal point of the series, and we kind of just see how he learns to adapt to his powers while also adapting to a world where now people who were disabled are now super powered people, which is a huge quantum leap, polar opposite of way of life. So not, as you can imagine, not everyone's going to do the right thing with these newfound powers. So that's what this series is going
Of
to
course.
explore. So first issue is more of an origin story out the gate, and the subsequent issues start to see how other people are, what they're doing with these powers around the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. So for writing it, for everything that Derek goes through, you
Mhm.
know, how did what did you use for source material or for a reference point for for all the stuff, when you see him mentally gearing up for the day, and all the
Mhm.
different names he's going to be called, where'd you come up with all that, or is that just just a guess, that lucky guess where you ended up hitting the nail right on the head?
Well, I drew from my own experience in life, being a kid that was bullied. No, most people were. Kids can be cruel at any age, at any time. Regardless if it was the '80s, '90s, or now. There's no way you're going to get a perfect world scenario where everyone's nice and polite to people just because they have disabilities. So I drew from that, maybe cranked it up a little bit extra just for effect, and just so you knew that like certain
Okay.
characters are ones that you're not supposed to like, and went from there.
Hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah,
One of the other things I remember about that book that I really liked was the some of the sound effects that you decided to go with.
yeah.
You know,
Boof.
the
Mhm.
boof.
Yeah,
That were. I really. To me, that was just perfect because I could actually. I was hearing that sound effect in my head. Just
yes,
just sounding it like that.
yeah.
And where'd you come up with that?
I when it comes to special effects in my comics, I typically just like it's an onomatopoeia type scenario. I'm like, what would this sound like? I close my eyes. I'm like, all right, how do I spell this sound? It's not always gonna work that way. Like, I was writing a script today when people are clapping. How do you spell the sound of a clap? You can't. So you have to write out the word clap. And people, when they read
Makes
it and they
sense.
see it in a comic, and the letterer does their job right, and they see clap, 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 they'll hear
Mm,
the sound of clapping. Doesn't work with all sounds. Sometimes it's the opposite. So I really struggled at first with Boof because of there's connotations of something else. Some people
mm-hmm.
use the word Boof for, but I'm taking it back to how I want to use it. And the first letterer of the series, Steve Ekstrom, he did a fantastic job with
Mm-hmm.
the lettering and the special effects. And now it's almost like a signature for the series. I've had um, magnets and stickers made of that Boof. It's just so marketable. So
Oh,
yeah, really,
absolutely.
really
You
happy
know,
with how that turned out.
you've got the magnets, you got the stickers. You've got to get, go forth and get, enter the world of t-shirts. You
T-shirts,
know,
yeah, that's
you know,
next. Mhm.
I can see it now at a Comic Con, a boof booth.
Boof, booth. Oh man, that
You
that
know,
might draw some people to it.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Then when they get there, sorry to disappoint, but would you like a shirt?
Right.
You know, definitely, definitely doable.
Right. Yeah.
You
There's
know,
options there. Mm.
oh, absolutely. There's options
Mm.
with everything. Have you thought, have you given much thought to the con scene, because you've got the perfect banner for it there behind you with the recount,
Well,
so.
and when cons open up, I'm going to be there in
Mhm.
full effect. I did do a smaller con in Kissimmee. I think it was in December, early December, late November. It was very
Oh, okay.
small at the fairgrounds in Kissimmee, Florida. Um, but yeah, right now the bigger ones like MegaCon and so forth, yeah, those are a lot of attendees go to that, so they're playing it safe.
Hmm.
Um, but once they say, you know, flick on the green light, and I'm all for it. I'm
So
ready.
at that point, is it gonna be like a traveling road show for you, or are you still,
Uh,
or is it going to be just to pick a few here and there and make the trip for those ones,
it
or is
all
it gonna be
depends.
play it by ear?
Yeah, it all depends. If I'm fortunate enough where certain ones may pay for my travel, I could do. I would definitely do that. I mean, if some con in Iowa wants me to be there and they can fly me out, by all means, I'll go to Iowa. But
Mm,
I'm not going to spend money to go to a con in a city that may not have that big of a draw. I'm not quite a destination as some other creators out there. So, but
mhm.
yeah, as far as the Florida ones, I
Yeah,
can drive to in 2 or 3 hours. Yeah, that's fine.
understandable. So
Yeah.
being on the West Coast, I don't, it's going to be a wing and prayer to be able to actually see you in person for a while at either Seattle or Portland, huh?
Yeah, talk to the cons out there, the stores. Maybe they
Mm.
can work some magic, cash in some flyer miles or something. Whatever it takes. Yeah, it could be doable.
It's anything's doable. It's just a
Yeah,
matter of being lucky enough to see, be able to see it actually happen.
for sure. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
So other than Capable and the Recount, what other projects do you have going on right now?
My first comic book is called, excuse me, Freak Show Princess, and I self-published that and crowdfunded it last year. Then yep, there you go. Oh, quick on the draw. That's actually getting reprinted in a way soon at the end of March, March 31st, I think is the date. It's going to be in a zombie anthology called Mississippi Zombie 2. And it's going to be a black and white gray tone version of it with 5 other zombie stories. So that's
Oh,
available for
okay.
pre-order right now by Caliber Comics. Yep. So Freak Show Princess is in Mississippi Zombie 2, but a black and white version.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the cover going, that looks creepy and awesome at the same time. I love it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Very cool. So yeah,
you know.
that's available.
You still with me there? It looks like you cut out, or we're having some connectivity difficulties here.
Now also through Amazon, so people can pick that one
Oh,
there.
okay.
All right. Can you see me? I don't know what happened.
I can see. There've been,
Okay.
I don't know, just some minor connectivity issues. So, a little bit of a lag, and
Uh,
you know,
Technology.
you know, well, then again, if you told me 10 years ago that we'd be able to have these conversations, as clearly as we are, because I remember the
Right.
old webcam where in the image you're doing the robot just for you move like that, and it
Right.
so this is it's still we're miles ahead.
Yeah,
you
for
know
sure.
this is what Jason Biggs needed in American Pie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But oh
Classic.
God, I'm getting old when that movie's a classic.
Yeah.
you know, so, so you know, you know, excuse me. So Freak Show Night is another book that I understand you're working on. But what's that one about?
So that one also takes place in the same universe as Freak Show Princess, but it's its own self-contained story. Um, so I'm growing this larger zombie universe called the Freak Show Kingdom, and Freak Show
Okay.
Princess and Freak Show Night are both within that same world. Freak Show Night, it's a separate standalone one shot, and that's about this man who lived in prison for most of his life, but now he's on the outside of prison during the zombie apocalypse, and he's fighting for survival, and while still trying to make amends for some of the sins that he was a part of during his life. So that one's being I self-published that, crowdfunded that last year as well, but it's
Okay.
coming out through Second Sight in April. April 7th is when that one comes out. That's so comic book stores can pre-order that right now.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the crowdfunding. Kickstarter. I love seeing all these different things coming up. My biggest complaint about Kickstarter though is it's not even the cost. It's the the way that some people don't seem to have it together. Where okay, of course, keeping names and titles and all of that out of it. There's stuff that I funded in June, and it's almost Valentine's Day, and I
Yeah.
still don't have a product in my hand.
I know exactly what you mean,
and
man.
and I realize there's a pandemic going on, but what really gets me is for one of those comics, I didn't even order a physical. I ordered the digital, and I
Oh
still don't
wow.
have a product in my hand.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
have the ability
frustrating.
to read that on my tablet,
Yeah.
and so you know, so it leaves me kind of leaves me gun shy about things like that
Mhm.
if it's not somebody I know and trust well. So so there have been a lot of stuff, a lot of things where I've gone, yeah, I'd love to play, but I'm out.
Yeah. I
For that
know.
reason.
I know what you mean, man. Yeah, I've been burned on a few Kickstarters that I backed before too, so it's part of the game. But
Mm-hmm.
thankfully, a lot of creators, you start to learn which ones follow through, and
Yeah.
you gotta support the ones that you know that are the uh,
Mm-hmm.
more stand up guys, if you will.
And like I say, even if there were, if the I will use Todd McFarlane's name because he had that kick. I'm not sure if you saw, he had a Kickstarter for that Spawn figure of his.
Yep.
Ordered mine, and don't get me wrong, I think that was in July, and and it was supposed to come out in November, but but he's been up front, and about every week and a half there's been a message, video
Mhm.
message of him saying, hey, here's where we're at with this,
Yeah.
because I don't think anybody could have foreseen the pandemic lasting as long as it has.
Right.
So so like I said, I'm willing to give benefit of the doubt on that front, but
Hmm.
it still kind of leaves you going, come on now.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
Um, mhm. you know, so with all these different projects you're working on, do you have a set schedule that that you have to keep to? How do you stay on how do you stay on budget and make sure stay on under budget and make sure that that you make all your deadlines on time?
It's an exercise, that's for sure. Still working a regular full-time job that funds my comic book projects. So it's more of working when I have the hours available. There's certain hours I just can't get things done. So those small window of opportunities between that and bedtime, which may get pushed back further and further. Um, uh, it's yeah, it can be a struggle. So just got to be
Mm-hmm.
disciplined with time management. Um, you know, got
Mm-hmm.
I balance my checkbook and anticipate. Wait, I write down everything, make what I owe everybody, what I can give the next time I get paid, and things like that. It's yeah, it's more project management than it is writing for me,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest
Oh,
with you.
I I have no doubt.
Mhm.
One of the guys on actually a couple I'm about out of everybody on the Indie Comics Dispatch, I'm one of the only people that is not a writer slash creator.
Mm,
So I've gotten to hear from some of them.
yeah.
And some of the numbers that people don't realize for for a Kickstarter book, you know, between $1,500 to $2,000 minimum to be able to make a book happen. You
Mhm.
know, you know, uh, and when you get, when you start getting to bigger publishers, Scout coming into the mix, I'm sure has helped that a bit. So help keeping costs down a little bit on the Recount.
Yeah, I mean, the benefit of working with a publisher is they handle the distribution part of it, which
Mm-hmm.
is a huge chunk of the 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 wheel of distributing these comic books. So that's a big benefit, and they also do their own marketing. I'm still going to market it regardless. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
not the one marketing it the most, I'm doing something wrong.
Oh,
So
exactly. You have a vested interest in it more than anybody.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of marketing in a roundabout way, I told I posted a thing for a promo,
Hmm.
for the second printing of the Recount. You
Hmm.
know, so I'm going to be giving away a copy of that.
Awesome.
If you want your copy of that, go to the Indie Comics Dispatch page on Facebook, like the page, and then that part where it says message, send them a message with the word dirty, dirty. We like it dirty at the Dispatch.
Okay.
So first person to do so, you will be getting a copy of the second print of the Recount.
Nice.
If you're local to me, I will physically deliver it to you. If not, I will mail it to you. You don't have to worry about shipping and handling. I will cover it. You're good to go. You're going to get an awesome book. Just my way of saying, hey, thanks for watching.
Good deal, man.
And with the Recount, have you thought about possibly a TV show, movie, anything like that somewhere down the line, or is that still a little bit too far off?
Well, it's not impossible. With Scout, they do have a department that handles the media type stuff.
Okay.
So there is someone that works for them that is in charge of pitching their titles to studios and producers. So, for instance, Forever Maps was just announced by Scout that's going to be in the works.
Okay.
Electric Black's getting a cartoon show. I think the Wretches is going to get a TV show as well. So those are all Scout titles, and their media department was the ones that were pitching that to everyone. So it's not impossible that could happen for the Recount. I would love for something like that. Hopefully, I can maintain some creative control.
Yeah, I understand that. That's a huge part of it.
Yeah, but so many things have to go right. You see these major properties, the Batmans, the Spider-Mans, those things that you would think that they could be pumping out movies left and right, but things happen and they just fail. So
and the other part of it is, with anything from the big two, look at the volumes upon volumes upon volumes of material they have to work with.
Yeah.
Like one of the ones that I noticed, Captain America: Winter Soldier, that they had their storyline already written in comic book form, probably a good 7-8 years before the book even came out, or before the movie came out. So it's not like there was this, okay, we need a fresh idea. It was just go through the page, go through all these pages, and hey, this part works. We'll take some creative liberties here. We have a movie. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And and I can see a lot of other places, a lot of other companies doing that with some stuff. Personally, I'm going, this is something fresh, something, it kind of reminds me of the Watchmen in a way. And I was kind of hoping to see more something along those lines.
Yeah, if I would love like a 4-episode, hour-long each episode Netflix miniseries or something like that. But it's got to has to come out first, has to be well received as a comic book first, and then so many other things have to go right before we could see that. So I'll keep my fingers crossed, and yeah.
I'll be keeping my fingers crossed for you too. Because in fact, your next issue, issue number 2 there.
Yeah.
Shouldn't that be, when's this one coming out? And I feel like it's personally. Then again, I'm also patience is not one of my stronger suits. So for me, I feel like that should have been out yesterday. So when's that actually coming out?
The 17th. So 6 more days. This Wednesday coming up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be banging on the door at my local comic book store.
Awesome.
Even worse than usual. My wife teases me because I work, with the hours I work, I always leave about 45 minutes earlier every Wednesday so I could, so I have time for a new comic book day on the way to work.
Nice. Yeah, man, gotta get your comics.
Well, I love my comics. Because sometimes the alternative universe there is definitely more entertaining and fun than the one that I get to work in.
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, um, so with other universes, you know, I know we talked about turtles a little bit at the beginning of the show. Do you have any other favorite universes out there, or is it, did you know, are you like are you part of the Star Wars stuff? Is that is
Yeah, I've been a Star Wars fan off and on for most of my life as well.
mm-hmm,
There's a lot of good things, a lot of bad things, just like anything else. I really like The Mandalorian. I think that's a fantastic show. Hard to not like that one. I couldn't
mm-hmm.
get into any of the cartoon shows, like Rebels and Clone Wars. I just
My
didn't work for me.
and my 9-year-old has been all over the Clone Wars, and it's awesome because he's able to be quoting stuff to me because I'm not all that as familiar with the Clone Wars as I am all the other things.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to have him that excited to tell me Star Wars stuff,
Yeah,
it's been kind of a breath of fresh air, because
yeah.
my dad was one of the biggest geeks I ever knew, and 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 look at the wall behind me. Those are all different
Yeah,
comic books that are almost all have been signed by somebody involved in the creative team. So for me to be
yeah.
saying my dad was the biggest geek I knew, you know,
You're not putting that
and
lightly. Yeah.
so he taught me about all things geek, and it's been great to be able to pass that on to my son.
Yeah,
You know,
that's awesome.
one one thing I like to do here, here on Quentin's Engines Works, I have what I call the Force board. Basically it's all
Um,
kind of a rankings, for all of the different Star Wars movies. You have 1 through 9. You have the Ewok movies, Rogue One, and you also have Solo on there.
okay.
If got got a name tag here for, with your name on it,
All right.
where is that tag going for you?
Empire Strikes Back, episode 5. No question.
There is no wrong answer. I don't pass judgment. I
Yeah.
do like to ask
Uh,
why, though.
Man, that one's just so cool. It's from a storytelling standpoint, it doesn't it breaks a lot of rules.
Mm-hmm.
The hero uh finds kind of doesn't take over he fights the bad guy but doesn't win, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's just so different from many other movies. And it leaves it open for the third one, which a lot of people. I just try to put myself into the state of mind of what was going on in people's heads in 1980 when that movie came out. They probably in 77 when A New Hope came out, they had no idea what was going to happen. That there was going to be more movies. It's not like how we are in the internet days where
Mm-hmm.
we know a movie's going to be a big, huge franchise, and you jump on board and you buy all the paraphernalia. Then one, but Empire Strikes Back just must have been so cool for people. I wish I was alive and a teenager during those days because that would have
Mm-hmm.
been my jam. And to see that movie with that cliffhanger, that twist at the end,
Oh yeah. One
man,
that you know
yeah.
that movie is walking. Is cinematic proof that no matter what, Star Wars will always be better than that movie Titanic. You know, everybody knew the ship was going to sink eventually. Who could have
Yeah,
seen Darth Vader saying, "Luke,
right.
I, I didn't kill your father. I am your father."
Yeah, that would have been.
You know,
I can't imagine. Uh,
and so some of the amount, and yeah, they did have the benefit of not having social media where some of the random things that come out now where
yeah,
good bad or good bad or indifferent, the number of spoilers that happen on the internet. you know
right.
I I'm trying to remember what movie it was. There was one where there was a movie that had been I was really excited to see, and I managed to make it a whole day without seeing any spoilers on the internet. And the next thing, next morning, as soon as I get online, there, hey, here's this huge reveal that basically just completely ruins everything.
Yeah.
think I want to say it was with something with Mandalorian. Just the
Probably.
the
Yeah.
amount of stuff that this year that people are, hey, yeah, we get it. Good for you. You saw it. How about giving everybody else the opportunity before ruining it for us all?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But back then in the 80s,
Mm.
you had the 2.5 minute trailer, and it's all you had to go by. There's nothing to spoil you
Oh,
until
I know.
maybe someone at
Mm.
work said something.
And even then, because I remember, when episode one came out, I won tickets on the radio. So, for the for the probably year and a half leading up to it, everybody was so excited because we were just going, okay, what's this going to be? The prevailing internet rumor was Boba Fett's origin story was going to happen in episode one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, close.
Oh
But,
well.
I'm here's a frightening thought for you though, because you like the Mandalorian, so do I. It was pointed out to me earlier today that in the entire Star Wars canon, Jar Jar Binks was never killed. He can
Mm.
return in the Mandalorian.
Whoa. I don't think they'll do that.
Me's thinking that's a bad idea, but
Yeah.
you
Who
know,
knows?
you
Yeah.
know, especially with the way that we're juggling writers and creative teams all over the place, nothing is out of the realm of possibility there.
Yeah.
You know, so we've talked a lot about some of all the stuff you've been involved in.
Mm.
What do you like? What titles are you reading when you get a chance?
But
What?
when I get a chance is a good way of putting it. Yeah, I really like Venom. That's my main Marvel book right there. I pick up a lot of the Sean Murphy Batman stuff from his Black Label, like
Mm-hmm.
the White Knight, Curse of the White Knight. Um, what else have I been reading? There's this horror book at Vault called The Autumnal I've been following, which is really good. I liked Yasmin at Scout. Trying to think. The Lois Lane 12 issue miniseries. I think Greg Rucka wrote
Oh,
that.
okay.
That was surprisingly good for I don't want to say a minor character, but it was such a good like mystery style story that only Greg Rucka could do in his fashion. I believe it
Yeah,
was Rucka.
yeah. One of the ones I came across, it was done by Scout Comics as well. It's called Shit Show,
Oh yeah, yeah. I
and
read the first issue of that one. Yeah,
you
that
know,
one was fun.
you know, you know, um, and having it described as basically if Frank Gallagher from Shameless were to get powers,
Yeah.
and at that point, it piqued my curiosity. I went, okay, yeah, what the heck? Let's throw another $4. I could do that,
Hmm.
and that is how you end up with a list that's roughly 40 pulls long.
Yeah, that stacks
You
up.
know, and so and for me, there have been a couple of books along the way where I've been coming across them and going, yeah, that was a colossal disappointment. We're done with
Mm-hmm.
that. Moving on.
Yeah.
You know,
They can't all be gems,
oh,
but
I know.
at the end of the day, you're supporting someone's creativity, and that's the best bet. That's the
Well,
win right there.
and for me, and and it's please don't take it's not intended that way, so don't intend. It's not aimed at I'm not aiming at the creative team,
Sure.
but the price of comics is going up and up and up and up.
Yeah.
McFarlane with Spawn is one of the only $3 titles left out there.
Yeah. It's not
You
easy
know,
keeping it under four
oh,
dollars nowadays.
and I get that, but some of the other things that have been happening, like with Marvel, Spider-Man is a twice a month book now, and has been for about a year.
Yeah, that hurts the pocketbook.
Because Spider-Man's doing that, Detective's doing that, Batman's doing that.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, it's the same as having two polls for those titles.
Right.
And
Yeah. It's a lot.
And especially with the way the prices of the covers are going up, and some of them, okay, I get it. If it's a short 1 or 2 run, or like the DC Black series with the Harley Quinn books. Oh my God, I love the new the Harleen series and the Joker Harley Criminal Insanity. Have you had a chance to read either of those?
Yeah. Those are on my pull list. So yeah, those are
Yeah,
really good.
Most of the other black label for the heroes has been disappointing. I think would be the best. It hasn't been bad. It's just
Yeah.
but a lot of some of the other black label stuff I really ended up liking, from Joe Hill. The Basket Full of Heads. Did you get a chance to
Yeah.
read that one, or the Dollhouse Family?
Yeah, I read a lot of the Hill House imprint stuff. That one, Daphne Byrne. I think another one was called The Plague. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I really like
Okay.
Joe Hill, so I usually pick up his stuff. Lock and Key is one of my favorite comic books of all time.
I had trouble getting into Lock and Key. I don't know if it was the true number one. So I'm at the beginning, or if this is a reboot on a side series number one that I came across. But I just, it wasn't to me. It wasn't one of those books I could just fall into, and everything happening around me doesn't matter because I've got this amazing book in my hand.
Yeah.
And because for me, I love my reading time, and it goes for a premium. So I want the books I can fall into quickly, and stuff where I'm going, yes, loved that.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I get that.
I just can't. I just did Transformers Beast Wars number one. They did a reboot on that. I think they did a reboot because Beast Wars and all that was about the time when when it was originally out. That's about the same time when I discovered girls. When I was in middle school and high school.
Yeah.
More appropriately, God bless America, girls finally discovered me. And so I didn't get so at that point I took a bit of a break from comics, so I wasn't familiar with Beast Wars, so I don't know if if this book was canon, or if there were a bunch of liberties taken.
Yeah.
But and the story itself, I liked the story. It wasn't the artwork, not as nice as I would have liked, but doable. The $6 cover price.
Oh yeah.
It's
hard.
That was if at $6 for a cover price, I need to be shouting from the rooftops, "You've got to read this book. It's incredible."
Right.
And I was going, all I could go is, yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, there's so many comic books out there. They can't all be.
I know.
It's different strokes for different folks. All those other cliches.
Yeah, just one of those. No, not one of my not a Rushmore title, please. But have you had a opportunity to read the volume 3 Darth Vader from Marvel?
No, not yet.
Gosh.
Yeah.
At this point, get the trade paperback because there's a first appearance in there that's driving prices up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I'm not beyond that. I'm not going to give no spoilers there. It reads similar to a novel, and it feels like a movie, reads like a novel, and this journey is Homer's The Odyssey.
Oh, okay.
Cool. I strongly recommend get the trade paperback as soon as it's available, or go to Comixology and get some digital copies. It's been an incredible run, but I just don't get to talk about that kind of stuff very much because we're an indie specialist here. So
gotcha.
But, that's one of my
I'll add it to the list.
It's definitely, like I say, worth with the trade paperback, because that way you're not going to be out a huge chunk of money trying to get. I think it's number 6 where you get the first appearance. But so that way you keep prices down. On the trade paperback, it works out to like $1.50 a book versus $4 or $5 for hard copies.
Okay.
And when you're a geek on a budget, that matters.
Definitely. Yep. Every red cent counts.
Absolutely. And and I'm not seeing any comments anywhere. So I'm trying to see if I have, if there's any comments that might have gotten overlooked. Because if people have any questions, I want them to be able to get them out for you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just let me know.
Yeah, the only comment was the one I shared when we at the beginning of the show when we were talking about Turtles and with Bebop and Rocksteady. Other than that, some shows go that way, but still, it's still been an awesome time having you here.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
It's like I say, it was one of those trying to get the schedules lined up because I knew you were going out and doing your some of the signings and and I didn't realize that you were also working full-time job. I thought I thought you were already at the point where so trying.
Struggle is real.
Yeah, but hey, you're definitely taking steps to go in the right direction, which I think is awesome. The Recount, hey, loving it. I cannot wait. With number 2, I'm dying to see where this goes.
Cool.
Personally, I'm hoping we can wrap all get all 3 volumes, and then and what I'm really hoping is in about 5-6 years from now, when this movie's coming out, when a movie's coming out on a silver screen, that I can be taking my kid to it and going, I talked to this guy back when the first book in this whole thing started.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to when that day happens.
That'd be pretty cool. Cool.
But hey, like I say, I can't thank you enough for being a guest on the show, and
thank you.
Good luck, and I'd love to have you come back on another time. Get a few months down the road where we can just be able to actually talk about some more of the stuff that actually happens in the Recount, so we're not giving away spoilers.
Yeah. No spoilers.
That's why I'm going. That's why I'm going. Like I said, I'd love. It's kind of one of those catch-22s. Do you get somebody right at the beginning where you're going, I love this, but I can't talk about this, or do you or do you wait until everybody else catches on to realize hey, this is a great book, and then you can't get them booked. So
catch-22.
Yeah, so I figured I'd rather be leading the charge, going, hey, this is awesome, people need to know about it. Remember me? I was the guy that you and Brian took that picture of the book with.
Right on.
So but hey, thanks again for coming out and spending some time with me instead of doing the writing thing. And I hope to have you on again sometime in the near future. Great. And for everybody else out there, hey, thanks for watching. This has been Quentin's Enginewerks on Indie Comics Dispatch, and we will catch you again next week with G.I. Joe cover artist Jamie Sullivan. He has got a story to share with you. Thanks for your time, everybody. Bye-bye.